Okay, guys, I am Melissa Shaver. It is wonderful to have you here tonight. This is our Income and Impact call. If you've ever been with me on any of these calls, you know what I say, which it is my favorite time of the month is to talk business. I love to have these conversations. I love to see what it is that stirs people to participate in this opportunity, to see the vision of what this opportunity can do. We all have different stories. We all got here different ways, and I'm just fascinated by that. So if you are new to us, if you're a guest, welcome, welcome. I want you to know that this is Plexus Worldwide. We are a health and wellness company, and we focus on gut health, inflammation, blood sugar stabilization, which all connects to brain health, hormone health, all those great things. Our major focus is for you to be healthy, happy, and have incredible hope for your future. And it's just a blessing and joy to be a part of this business and to have you with us. And so tonight, I'm thrilled to have with us a friend that I call a friend. I did not meet her until this business. That's another really cool thing about the work that we do, is the friendships that happen within the community of this business opportunity. But we have Andrea Mitchell. She's one of our top leaders in Plexus Worldwide. She's been with us over 8 years. She'll probably share some of that. I think she started a little bit after me, and she's just had incredible success from the moment that she said yes to this opportunity. But I want you to hear a little bit about her and her story. First of all, she's a mother of three. She has two boys that I know one is taller than her, and she's pretty tall. I think the second one is catching up. And then she has a beautiful daughter that has cerebral palsy that you'll probably hear a little bit about. She has a husband that also has a business. They're an entrepreneur family, which is super cool, because I think that goes into play with just the way that she views business and the way that she works her business. But more than anything in all of that, and I think that this is a unique piece, because we hear about these opportunities whenever we interview and kind of have this fireside chat, which I have no fire around me. But we get to hear, like, did they come directly for the business, or
me too.
Because of their health? And with Andrea, you're going to see she was sick most of the time, and she thought that was normal, which I think is fascinating. I had high anxiety and literally would have never labeled that. I just thought that I was a person that could handle stress. I was like, that was weird. So we have these things that happen that we think are norm until we start getting our gut healthy, our blood sugar stabilized, all of our inflammation points coming down, and we realize that that we were sick. And there's this whole new life that happens. And so you're going to get to hear some of those things from her. So Andrea, I'm going to quit talking. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for being with us tonight. And as I kind of shared with you earlier, I really love to pick your brain, if that is okay. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and you can share with us a little bit about this business, what brought you here, and a little bit more really about your story. But I would love to start from the standpoint of how you heard about Plexus, and did you come for the health side, or did you see the business opportunity immediately? Can you share a little bit of your family dynamics and that piece of it?
Yes, thank you so much. This is actually fun, and maybe I'll touch on this at some point, but Melissa and I kind of got shoved in a car together very early on in our business, and that's where we became friends, was going to a Plexus meeting together way across town. So it will mesh you together really fast and in the sweetest ways. I do want to remind anybody who's on tonight that if you will mute, it will make sure that everyone can hear what we're talking about, and that just be really mindful of whatever we're seeing or hearing, so that we can all be really focused on what Melissa's asking, kind of our conversation. But one of the things I want to talk about is the fact that when I first started, I saw it on social media just like everybody else. Mm-hmm. I saw people I knew talking about this, and I was really curious, but I wanted something clean and safe. And I had 3 small children at the time. And this was, mid 2003. And I think my kids were, 5, 6, 7, or 7, 5, and 3. Who knows? When you're at that stage, you're not even sure in the moment how old your children are. But they were little. Our oldest, special needs, handicap, required everything of us on a physical level. The boys being wild, typical, fun boys, required everything of us on a physical level. But then there was also all of the emotions involved, years of hospital stays, everything. So I was interested in Plexus for what it would do for me. I knew I loved network marketing, but I knew I would never do it again. At that moment, that just wasn't something that was going to be a part of my story. But I loved it, and I wanted to buy from all of my friends. I knew it was a hugely viable vehicle. I just did not think that I was the one that was going to be driving that vehicle, but I would happily make sure everyone else had gas. And so I bought from a friend, really thinking it would help me. Very quickly realizing that it was going to help our whole family in a health sense. And then when that happened, just my personality mixed with something that really worked and having to shout it from the rooftops. Um, I told my husband, here are 3 promises I make you. 1, I will not hold inventory. 2, they do not require parties, because my girlfriend that I'd been watching do this while I was a customer was not hosting parties. And 3, that I would never ever spend more than I made. And he was like, all right, well, good luck. so, so that I didn't start sharing for a while, but I shared out of pure joy of what it would do for other people.
Mhm. So I have a couple of questions just from what you just shared. It sounds like that you were in MLMs before because you negotiated with your husband and you set some boundaries fairly quickly. So can you share with me why this specific company was different for you? I mean, I heard you talk about the parties and the inventory and things like that, but what made you believe that this was a good deal and that you felt good about sharing it?
When I was first approached by, we live in Dallas, so Mary Kay isn't a new name, and the idea isn't new. Um, I mean, I had 100 friends whose moms did Mary Kay all through high school. We went to all the parties, and it was wonderful. I thought it was great that these moms had a great avenue. Joe and I, my husband and I, go to a church. Our entire children's building is built off of a company called Premier Jewelry, and our education building is based off of I think it's called Southern Homes. Michelle can probably write it in the chat, but it's something sweet that a single mom started as a multi-level marketing company. So I always knew the industry was amazing. When I first was approached to do the industry back in like 2001, 2002, I was at a place where I just didn't want to, I was in my 20s and I was like, oh, you're giving me the option to work from wherever I want, doing whatever I want, but the product wasn't right. The
Mm-hmm.
product was something way outside my scope, almost outside like my pay grade. Like, I don't know why I would ever think I could share something like that, but the business model made sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Then later, when we got married and I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, I thought I'll bring in a couple of extra dollars. But that business model was twofold. One, really heavy in inventory. You had to buy more to make more.
Mm-hmm.
So of course I kept putting that on a credit card my husband didn't know about, because I was like, I'll pay it off, because if I keep doing what they tell me to do, I'll eventually pay it off. So there was an inventory aspect of that. There was a, spend a lot before you make a lot aspect. And then it was so heavy in person and parties. There was no social aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to people wasn't a problem, but talking to people face to face was really uncomfortable for me. So when Plexus, like when the Lord said, here, something that works, that you love, that you can talk about, that not only do you have a story, but there's 100 stories all around you that you don't have to just share your own. And because the first thing I shared was not my own story. And there's a community of people that are like-minded women who love the Lord and want to do something, share something amazing and build something incredible. And I just thought I was going to earn a couple $100 a month as a stay-at-home mom, and it was just going to, kind of cushion that target. I never thought I could actually be successful in this, although I was defining success probably incorrectly at the time.
Mhm.
But then very quickly I thought, oh wait, $100 a month, $500 a month, covering the cost of all of our products that we love, and maybe having $100 to spend in the clothing section at Target. I'm your girl. So I really believe our compensation plan is amazing. You can make money really quickly, really fast. You can sustain that. You can do a lot of it on social media, which was a great avenue for me. Um, you can reach a lot of people in one post, a lot more than you can if you go door to door with a, flip chart. And I just thought, how could you not share these products with people? This wasn't makeup. This wasn't, kitchen utensils. This wasn't any of that. This was stuff that changed our daughter's life.
Mhm.
And I knew I could not go on if I did not tell people about the products that we had.
Can you share a little bit about how it changed Ella's life?
Yeah, so Ella has cerebral palsy. She had meningitis at birth, and just because of all the brain damage from just the brain injury from seizures and infection at birth that went straight to her spinal fluid, it just caused so many problems. So at the time, we had been struggling with urinary tract infections and constipation, and it was kind of a chicken or the egg. They weren't really sure if the constipation was causing the UTIs or trying to fix the UTIs was causing the constipation, but both of those were caused seizures for about 4 years. And we finally got the brain activity under control, but the UTIs weren't stopping. So we were still living in a lot of fear, and the constipation wouldn't go away because you have a kid that's maxed out on 4 meds, seizure meds. It slows down the whole body. And so we'd been suggested so many different things that were really kind of chemical storms inside her body. If you add in all of the Miralax and you add in Pediasure and you add in all these things you think are correct and doctors keep telling you, but one of our doctors, our urinologist, told us to get on a probiotic, and we tried 3 or 4 different ones, and we're seeing no success with the UTIs. And so when this one popped up, I went, well, why not just try another one? And we have not in 8.5 years, since August of 2013, we have not had a UTI. Because of Probio 5, because of BioCleanse, she goes to the bathroom every single day, which when you're a 15-year-old girl, believe me, you do not want your parents involved in that. And so it changed her life in a health way. And because of that, our company has continued to add products to the mix. They've continued to be really intentional about our ingredients. And so we feel confident every time we turn around, whether it's our new electrolyte formula or it's our collagen or whatever, we feel so confident moving over to the Plexus line of products because they're so good and so much better than the other alternatives that were out there. So yeah, it's been a game changer for her.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. I appreciate how you advocate for your child and the work that you do. And I would love I'm all over the place because there's some things that I really want to pull, but me even saying that you're advocating for your child, the way that you do, the way that you educate all of us on just your world and her progress. Many of us have watched her progress, which is just incredible. But in saying that, I would love to hear how this business aligns with your values, but how this business aligns with your lifestyle as well. Because your lifestyle is not a normal lifestyle because you have 2 very healthy boys that are very active, but then you have a daughter that has special needs that you have to also focus on in all the paperwork you do. There's so much that you do. So I'd love to hear those 2 things from you as to how it aligns with values and lifestyle.
Well, 3 of my core values, we could all have like probably 5 to 6 core values, but 3 of mine would be authenticity, community, and leadership. And I think for me, being authentic in what the products do and what the business really can do is really important. So just values wise, our business totally aligns with authenticity. We talked a little bit about the community. I don't even think that Melissa and I could do an hour-long call and give you the full vision of what the community looks like, and then the way that they help each other out. Like, you may not realize this, but Melissa and I, our businesses don't actually affect each other. So my business is so over here, and her business is over here, and they don't actually affect each other, but we truly love to help each other out. And that is very rare in a lot of these businesses. I would lift her up every single week into greatness if I could, and it would not lessen what's available to me. And our company really does a great job partnering us instead of ever competing us against each other. Um, and then just leadership, growing in leadership. Because I have grown in leadership in my business, I have grown in leadership as a mom. I have grown in leadership as an advocate. I have grown in leadership of how to talk to my boys. You would never realize that growing in leadership in your business allows you to have better communication with your children. Melissa and I just went through something this last year where we talk a lot about the thought model, and I have used that so much with my boys, which I would have no access to that out, as a stay-at-home mom solely, because I probably wouldn't be reading the same books or listening to the same podcasts or whatever. And I think it's the same way with Ella. Like, my thoughts on how her life runs is so different because I do this business. Um, I think I only answered half of your question. So what was the other half?
Well, so that's your values, your lifestyle. This business, we talk a lot about how we all have this great desire for people to get their time back, for
Yeah.
people to live their life and not their job or their work to control their life. And looking at this business model and the way that ours is set up, how does that fit into your lifestyle?
Well, it first fit in sitting on the playroom floor while kids were Clover, while we were sitting in therapy offices or doctor's offices. I would say in the beginning, it was playgrounds and it was all of the things that you have when you have, bigger toddlers and kids all over the place. And now it's really a lot the same. I'm here. If Ella's home all day, which we had snowstorms last Thursday and Friday. Ella has sat next to me on many a Zoom call. She loves it. But I can do it from anywhere. I can do it from a family vacation. My husband is an entrepreneur. He's starting a laundromat. I can, I can twofold. One, I can be in the laundromat helping him out with so much of what we've learned within our businesses. And two, I can be answering questions for friends or talking tonight. My boys are going back and forth to basketball practice. Right now they're watching a game, people are watching a game in the living room, and Ella's just, kind of wherever she needs to be. It doesn't interfere. It like elevates it. Every single thing that we can do because of Plexus, not Plexus interferes with everything that we do. My husband's an entrepreneur. He's starting a business. He takes a phone call that someone from New York needs to talk to him, or someone from the installers need to talk to him. That's normal entrepreneurship. So do I step away sometimes and take a message from someone? Absolutely. And my family goes, I'm so glad that you get to love on that person, bless that family with what we have. And now you're coming back to a game of Clue. And guess what? I figured out who everybody was and where they did it and with what, it's, it doesn't, it doesn't take away. And it's the greatest thing. Can you imagine, y'all? We make incredible incomes because we change people's lives while living life with our family, like without having to clock in and out and hope that you can show up for car lines if your boss lets you out in time, and hope that your kid never gets sick because you can't take off one more day from work. And we just don't have that. We don't have that concern, and it's so freeing.
Yeah. Well, and I love like listening to you talk, and we get to hear your lifestyle. Like you just shared so many pieces, but like I feel like your children, because they've watched you for 8 years, they're watching their dad just take this really big out of the box like opportunity. Um, but I feel like they're growing up totally different. I always say a big passion of mine that I'm always wanting my leaders to understand is that we're changing generations to come because we're changing the environment of a home. So the environment of a home, of a mom that feels better, a mom that has energy, a dad and mom that their conversations change because they're not exhausted all the time. It changes the environment for the children and how they're raised up. And listening to you, it's not only done that, but it's changed the environment. Your children are learning business without it's like business 101, and they don't even know it's what's happening because it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, the neat thing is, like, when I first started, Joe was still full-time, I mean, worked downtown in a oil and gas company, something he'd done for 16 years and he's phenomenal at. And that industry just changed, and so he lost his job one day, and that job that doesn't exist anymore. And back then, the boys wouldn't see him until he got home from work, which, I mean, he didn't have crazy hours. He would get home at, 5:30, 6 o'clock, and we'd have dinner. But when he lost his job, one of the greatest joys was that he could pick up the boys from school every day. Right now, one of my greatest joys is he gets them off to school every morning.
Mhm.
So I'm not a morning person, so it works out wonderfully for our family. But I mean, how great that you can go, you know what? You're a morning person and I'm not. You take mornings. You know where to be. You don't have to be anywhere. A boss isn't clocking you in. And guess what? I can do car lines all afternoon because I love car lines. And you can go
Mhm.
to the laundromat and deal with whoever you need to deal with. And it plus the boys get him. He is at every basketball game. He has coached them because he can coach them at 4 o'clock in the afternoon if he needs to. He can be there to do whatever. Next weekend we're going to Houston for a tournament. He doesn't have to ask anybody for the time off. He's like, what time you want to leave? I'll pick you up from school early and we'll hit the road. And
Yeah.
you get that time, and it's just, there's nothing like getting to make your own choices. That doesn't mean that all the time is just free time and you're on vacation all the time, but you get to make choices that you don't have to wait for someone else to approve your choices.
Wow, that's so good. That is so good. Okay, so my question for you is, what have you learned about yourself in these last 8 years of being in this business?
It's
And we
eight
don't have
years.
all night. No.
Yeah, we change a lot in 8 years. Like, I don't know if you, even if you've never been in this business, like, I think you would say I've changed a lot in 8 years, even if you're not in this business. What's amazing is this business is that we change for the better. We find out more about who we are. We find out our triggers. We find out that we're really good. I had no idea I was good at asking questions. I didn't know that was my thing until people start identifying our company. Y'all, you are surrounded with people that tell you what you're good at all the time. And so I would say I've leaned into my strengths more because I feel like my strengths have been more identified. And I've learned that I can let someone else in their strengths, where my weaknesses are, that someone else can be strong and I can allow them to be strong there. I don't have to be all things to all people. I'm really coachable. I love people that are coachable. Um, I'm good at certain things I never think I would have ever saw as a mom with my kids. I don't think I would have seen I was good for with numbers, or I was really an introvert when I thought I was an extrovert. All of those things just come to light when you are constantly in leadership roles. You get to decide, oh, this is who I really am, and I'm good at this, and I'm strong in this. And so I would say where my strengths are and really leaning into those has just been so much fun over the last 8 years.
That's amazing. Okay, so you're an introvert?
Isn't that weird? I will get off this call and go take a bath, and I will not send any messages to anybody. I will be done for the night.
Yeah.
I'm a friendly introvert, because an introvert doesn't mean that you're shy. It just means that you can love people, but that you need downtime to just like kind of regroup. And I
Yeah.
think most people think introvert means shy or quiet, or really introvert's just where your energy goes. And my energy I can give y'all all my energy and then I go take a bath.
And it's gonna always say, I've already used up all my words. So my mom, I adore, but if I call her, I've used up the words for the day. So I can't talk to her in the morning because my words are gone. I have to wait. But yeah, I love that. I just trained on introvert and extrovert at my church this weekend. And I'm like, introverts really do love people. It's not about loving people or not loving people. It's about energy and where you get your energy. But I love that, because whenever you do see people with this energy, there's an assumption there. Because a lot of times it's a myth that introverts aren't great at this business. And so many people say, I'm an introvert, I'm not an extrovert, therefore I can't do this business. And it has nothing, that is such a misconception. So I wanted
It's
to
crazy.
really pull that out when you said that.
Yeah, and out of our top 10 people in our top 10 income earners in our company, I would say out of the top 10, probably 3 or 4 are true introverts.
Mhm.
It's just that they loved a few people really well, and they had really good, solid relationships. And those people went and just grew, just talk to all the people. And that's what's so neat is how our business is actually built is on relationships with other people. It doesn't necessarily mean you've talked to the stranger in the grocery store. It means you have a really good friend from college that needs the products or the business, or you just invested in a woman in Bible study and you're like, this woman needs what I have. And
Yeah.
so you can invest there.
Wow. Okay, so you were sharing like the things that you've learned about yourself and how you've been able to lean into your strengths and things like that. If any of our guests are just questioning, like, the thing I love about this business is we have stay-at-home moms, we have educated, non-educated, higher education. We have you know, corporate America that are with us. We have so many different types of people that do this business. And so I'm wondering, some of the things that you said are your strengths to me are also some of the areas that could be like, if I were sitting here evaluating, because I always tell people, if you're looking at an opportunity, evaluate if this is for you. So what would you say are some of the components to be successful in this business? If somebody's questioning, okay, she's successful, but can I actually be successful? What would you say are some of the key components?
I would say first is, do you want to make other people's lives better? Like, do you really care about other people first? One of the things that I think most of us in this company would say is, I knew someone else needed this business. I knew someone else needed that product. I knew I couldn't keep it quiet because it would eat me alive inside if I felt like I had a secret and this wonderful thing and I didn't share it. And it truly is life changing in so many ways. So I think first you have to like people. I do think that's kind of a prerequisite. And you can like people in your own lane. It does not have to be the same way that I enjoy people. You can like people differently, but I do think you have to like people. I think you have to be coachable. Like, I really value coachability, like being really self-aware and saying, I think I struggle here and I would love for you to help me out. Or I want to know how to search for this on my own. I want to be resourceful. So coachability and resourcefulness are two things. Because honestly, if you're willing to be coached and you're willing to go find some of the answers, you don't have to know a single thing about gut health and microbiome and bioavailability, words I never said prior to Plexus. It took me probably 2 years to be able to really talk about Probio 5, even though it was our family's very favorite product. All I could do was tell you stories. I could not tell you how it worked.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think you have to know everything. I think you have to be willing to share what you know. You have to be willing to learn out loud. I think so, being willing to learn social media, you don't have to have great social media right now, but if you're willing to learn it, that's coachability. And then resourcefulness there of trying to figure out, like, I'm going to go watch a video and figure out how this gets done. The belief that you can have it too.
Yeah.
The belief that it is for, I'm just going to tell you, like, my friends that have joined me are corporate paralegals, counseling, people that have, what is it called? Masters in counseling, Christian counseling, a high school dropout, a health coach. Like, it's literally the gamut of whoever you are, like, doesn't matter how you define yourself. It's who you want to be. Like, I want to grow into this. I want to be better. I want to change other people's lives. And by changing other people's lives, I really think that we can change our life at home as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like this is an area for all of us that we all desire to have that quality of life, right? And if you love people, like you said, you really do have to love people. That does have to be at the top of the list. Introvert or extrovert, you do have to love and serve and have a desire to do that. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the introvert and the extrovert side of it, because that's always a key qualifier, if you will, of people saying, I don't know if this business is for me. My other question is, and for all of our guests, Plexus Worldwide is social selling. We do social media is a really big outlet for us. Online businesses have honestly, the increase of popularity, business model, all those things, the last 2 years, we've kind of skyrocketed, not just Plexus, but just this industry, because people are seeing this model, this business model, seeing the flexibility. People for the first time that worked, corporate America and had to come home and be quarantined, realized the amount of time that they got back, and the flexibility that they had. So everyone is starting to do this mind shift of, what do I want for my future? What do I want in my career? What do I want? What level of stress do I want? Like all those different pieces. So it's been fascinating to see the people that are curious towards this. But my big question is in regards to social media, because we are an online business. What are your thoughts around somebody that is questioning if they really, aren't big in social media? I'm sure that they're here on Zoom, so I would say that they probably have Facebook or Instagram, or they love all the Twitter, TikTok, all those different things, but they themselves aren't fully engaged in that space, and they don't have a lot of followers and things like that. What would you say to someone like that that is wondering if this opportunity is for them?
Well, if you are a voyeur, which means you're looking on social media, but you're not quite posting, I have 11-year-olds that are FaceTiming my son. Sorry, it's going to happen a couple of times. They don't know how to stop. But if if you are a voyeur and you're watching social media and you're watching what all your friends are posting and you're watching, that wedding that happened last weekend and all the sweet pictures from snow day, but you're not engaging, I really want to challenge you. People want to know what you're doing too. People want to know, what is she up to? What's going on with her grandkids? You had maybe a career at one point, and maybe your career was you were a stay-at-home mom. Maybe your career is you were a homeschool mom or a preschool teacher. There are things that you have, even if you're just a cook or a baker. There are things that that you have that other people need to know. There's this sweet lady on Instagram, and I think it's called Brunch with Babs is her Instagram handle, and she's older, and I love her. And we did her air fryer donuts last Saturday with biscuits. And y'all, she's an older lady who has realized that she has value to add, little lessons that she's learned over life, little lessons that she continues to learn now. Um, she's probably in her late 60s, maybe early 70s, and she's just delightful. And she didn't go, I mean, I'm old, nobody needs to know what I've heard or how to make donuts in an air fryer with biscuits. Like, she's giving what she has. And I think if you have something, and please don't say you don't, because it would just break my heart if you think you have no value to add. Sit down if you need to have prayer time with Jesus and say, Jesus, remind me what my value is. Remind me, the gifts and the talents that you've given me that I don't want to, hide away, and not multiply. And I promise you, he will reveal to you the gifts and talents that he's given you, and use with other people. Maybe it's encouragement. Maybe it is scripture exhortation. Maybe it is, how to make biscuits in air fryer taste like a donut. Whatever it is, if you will add value on social media, just a little bit at a time, people will come follow you and say, oh, I like that. I'm leaning in. I like what she has to share. So I really think the first thing that you do, if you don't feel like you do social media well, is add value there. Tell somebody something that's interesting to you, something you learned this week, something you learned 30 years ago that you think other people need to know. And I think when you add value and people start to receive that and get encouraged by it, it will continue to allow that to happen. So I would just really encourage you, but you also might be a phone caller. If you're a phone caller, hats off to you. That is not my gifting. So if you pick up the phone and call your friends and go through I found my high school book that had all the alphabet letters, and you kind of open it up like one letter at a time and you see everybody who had that last name. If you have that address book sitting by your phone, still bless you, and open that book and call people and say, I have something I think you're going to want. I really think, yes, social media is great, but that's not the only way we can share our business. But I think if you will add value there, you will realize that there are people out there that want what you have, not just in Plexus, but in gifts and talents that you've learned. And I think that would be I think it'd be a blessing to you for you to know that you have something you can share on social media that other people will value as well.
I love that. And I just listening to you talk, I feel like that's part of that transformation and growth piece, right? But also listening to you, if I were a person that I'm sitting here saying, how would that be qualified? I think one of the greatest things for all of us is that we're never left alone. We do have a community that supports and encourages. And a lot of times, other people see in us what our gifting is or where our value is that we don't see in ourselves, because usually it's so normal to us that we don't even know it's a value. And that piece is really big. But I think that the blessing, as I'm listening to you, talk about social media and getting on the phone and having conversations face to face or voice to voice, all those different things, is just that area of understanding that we really do have simple steps and we really do have a way to engage. The thing that I've loved the most about this business, that I feel like we've been given this vehicle, this tool to help our communities across, the nation. And that is, we live in societies today that drive into their driveways, close the garage. They have 10-foot private fences. We're so closed off of having conversation, building relationships outside of, if we're in a church community, you see that. But some people still there go in and out of church and they don't build community. And I feel like the work that we do of having these conversations, caring for people, being on social media, adding value, loving people, all of those things, we're modeling as an example how to, keep the garage door open, how to lower those privacy fences. And I feel like our world needs that. I mean, we have been so isolated. So just the encouragement that you can have to learn to do that, to learn to be able to be that person is pretty cool. Okay, so just a last question that I have for you is 3 things to be successful in this business. We've talked a little bit that we've got those steps. Like some people, like how you started pretty excited that you could pay for your products for your family. And I will say that's where I started. I was paying for all of my family. There's a family of 5 plus my mom. I was taking care of my mom's as well. It was $750 a month. And I had to figure out how to do $750 a month for everyone, because we were on so many, we all had different needs. And it was a pretty big deal for us. My mom went from 18 medications down to 10. I wish we could get lower, but taking away 8 is huge. She's 82. And so it's just, those pieces. And it was my husband that looked at the business plan. I just wanted to get those products paid for. And he looked at the comp plan and said, "You're crazy not to look at this." Because at that time I was a ghostwriter. That's how I made my side money. I had a little paint, back then, whenever you painted on shirts, it's all coming back, people. But like I had a little business on the side. Like I was doing all these things to be able to pay for getting my master's, all those different pieces. And he's like, "We would literally get you back if you just did this. Just do this piece, we'll get you back." I mean, that's how I got started in that space. But we do have people that want to just pay products. Some people want $500 to be able to come home, $1,000 to be able to come home. And then other people like myself, I was a 6-figure earner in corporate America. And so I wanted to get back to my 6-figure earnings. So we all have a different place to be, of where we want to be whenever we look at this business and what this opportunity holds. But in saying that, what would you say would be the three things to be successful of honing in on for this business?
And the first thing I would say is consistency. And I really mean that's consistency with your products, because I think, like Melissa and I were saying, our products mattered so much to us that we wanted to get them covered. But I think you have to be consistent with the products, know what they do for you, and then you can, tell anybody else about them. So whether it was Melissa's family and her mom that needed, all of their own routines, or it was my daughter, her success and my success with energy, and then later all the boys in our family having their own stories. I think consistency on the products and consistency in the business. So if you're going to be in the business, sharing it is really important. And y'all, it doesn't matter whether we're social selling or my husband's a brick and mortar laundromat. There's a consistency with opening the store every single day. And even if no one's walking in the doors, you're still advertising, you're still letting them know, you still turn the open sign on, you still have a smile on your face, and everything's ready to go at all times. So I think it's really important to be consistent to make sure your store is open and people know where you are. So much of what he's doing right now is marketing and signage and letting people know, and that's you on social media.
Yeah.
So I think being really consistent there. Two, I'm going to go back to coachability, being willing to hear how you might be needing to switch things up. Like that if Melissa or anybody else comes to you and says, how about we tweak this? And you go, okay, I am willing to be coached by you. I'm willing to learn something different. I'm willing to get outside my comfort zone. Not crazy outside your comfort zone, but just like a toe or a foot just right outside your comfort zone. Start there first, and you'll move into getting in a car with strange women and driving to Fort Worth. It'll happen. And mine was 6 weeks. So I think, just getting a little bit outside your comfort zone, and I would say resourcefulness, but I'm going to change it, and I'm going to say the willingness to be on the other side of whatever it is you're stuck with right now. So right now you might be like, oh, I can't do social media. Be willing to be on the other side of that, where I'm actually good at social media. If you are shy, say, I'm willing to try to get on the other side of being shy, where I'm approaching people that are comfortable to me, but I'm outside my comfort zone a little bit. But I'm willing to do this thing over here. I'm willing to put my face on social media. I'm willing to do just the other side of whatever is stopping you right now from your business. I'm willing to approach people boldly for something I really believe in. And I really believe these products and this business can change. So I'm willing, I just want to challenge you to get on the other side of whatever is stopping you right now. Because every single person on this call, whether you haven't ever joined Plexus yet, and so you're like, what am I getting myself into? Or you've been here for a while and you just feel like you're hitting this wall, decide you're going to get over that wall. Decide what that wall is and then get over it. And I really think if you're willing to push through some just sticky spots in life, then you're really resilient and you're going to do amazing things. So I would say those are the three things. So what were they? Consistency, coachability, and resilience.
I love that. Love, love, love. And I also, sitting here thinking, I know when I started this business, I was working full time. And that's one thing I love. I would say plug into the system, right? We have a very successful system and it's easy. It's easy. The system is easy. Some of the things we do is uncomfortable because we've never done it before, right? But plugging into the system for me, especially whenever I was working full time, and I would equate full time to any stay-at-home mama that has kids hanging on them all the time and they have only bathroom time during nap time by themselves, right? So, but because of the system, it allowed me to build a business because I would plug in. I would plug into that system. I'd plug into the community. I had people to support me. So that was such a big one. Okay, last question. I've kept you so long, and I'm sure those boys in their FaceTime, they're like, we're ready. But tell me a little bit about what you love the most about Plexus.
This is good. This is like picking not your favorite child, because your favorite child's whichever one's obeying you the most at the moment. But the favorite thing I love about the income of Plexus is that the house that we're in right now was completely fully built on just my income. And my husband did a great job of stewarding money. And so we had a great savings specifically for this house when we moved into it. But when we moved into it, he'd already lost his job. And so this house is ramped front to back for Ella's wheelchair. She has a handicap accessible shower. And so income wise, I could not have dreamt that I would be sitting in this fully accessible house 8 years ago or 9 years ago. And I was like, pink drink, what's going on? What is that? Network marketing, not sure that's for me again. I could not have imagined this, that God had this story written for us. But what I love about the company, and I'll say this is something I've learned not learned, but had highlighted for me just today, the integrity of the people that we work with. The two men that own our company are accessible to us, but also have such integrity that when I watch other companies make decisions, I know that we are set apart. I know that both of them truly had the field in mind, that as top leaders, as Melissa and I, as top leaders, we have access to corporate, we have access to telling them ideas, things that we think need to change, think perspective from our side, and they listen, they change things, and it's incredible. So I would say my favorite thing about what the business has done for our family is that it's built the house, which I could go on for 30 minutes about why this is important. But what I love about Plexus Worldwide as a company is truly the integrity that it's built upon. Our compensation plan and our products come directly out of that integrity. So whether it's ingredient integrity or income integrity, I really think that that is a great way foundation to build a company. And everything goes back, everything's is a gut check for them. Is this the right thing for us to do? It's never about a private jet or a yacht or anything flashy. They're not flashy. If you met our owners, you would know. They're not about them. They're truly about making this a legacy company. They want nothing more than for this company to be passed down to our grandchildren and for our businesses to literally be a lineage business. And they are willing to do whatever it takes right now with integrity to make sure it lasts. And I really appreciate that.
Man, you're an incredible spokesperson for this industry and this company. I'm like, okay, I'm in again. I'm in again. Incredible. Thank you for your time. I just want to say to any of our guests and those that might be listening to the recording, because you couldn't be with us tonight, but if this has made you lean in, if you have questioned, could this be the opportunity for you? I love what Andrea said. Like, I could have never dreamed 8 years ago that this would be our home, that this would be our lifestyle, that this would, like, if that is you, and you know that there is more and you can't figure out the tools to get there. I know for me, I have really big dreams of funding very specific nonprofits. That is what drives me. But this opportunity I saw very quickly was the vehicle to be able to fulfill those things. And so, if anything, it might be that you want a career change. It might be that you want to do something different. It might be that you need, like when I started, that extra money to pay for kids' sports or college tuition or all these different things. We all have different financial needs. But if this has made you curious, if you have felt the community in this call and the love, the support, the encouragement, I really ask you to reach out to the person who invited you. They invited you here because they love and care about you. They invited you because they really believe that you have what it takes to be able to do an opportunity like this. So please reach out, ask any questions. If they don't have the answer, they know how to find the answer. And that's another beautiful thing about this community. But thank you for being with us, Andrea. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I could listen to you forever. I so appreciate your time. And everybody have a great night. Thank you so much.